meteorologist Wes Wyatt. Finally, the dry pattern broke across the state of Alabama. Tropical system moved through overnight and brought a good soaking rain. Took a little while for that rain to get here, but finally we did receive over 2 inches of rain, in fact, for parts of the area. But it doesn't stop here. We still have an unsettled pattern that's going to be with us for the next few days. Higher rain chances tomorrow for Election Day, also on Wednesday and Thursday. So over the next few days, keep an eye on this First Alert Weather app and an eye to the sky for more scattered storms. That's our First Alert Weather headlines as we take you to what's coming up next. The next big thing, maybe some fog overnight as well. Isolated showers possible mainly to the south overnight, but there could be a couple of showers on radar when you check in with us on Good Day Alabama tomorrow morning. Scattered storms likely, though, during the late morning and afternoon as temperatures rise into the 80s. We've got a lot of tropical moisture in place. It's muggy. You can feel it in the air out there. It certainly changed from last week, and that's going to fuel those storms. There will be more instability out there with those temperatures rising tomorrow, so scattered storms possible. Watch out for the lightning, locally heavy rainfall, and gusty winds. And Wednesday, more the same. And Thursday could be quite the stormy day, rainy and stormy at times throughout the entire day before some changes later in the week. So here's what it looks like right now. First Alert AccuTrack radar. You can see the wet weather. It's very localized compared to what we started off the day with a lot of rain out there. You can see just a couple of pop-ups here. We have a boundary that is stalled out. We had a front to the north Saturday night, and then that started dropping southward, and then a low pressure system, a tropical disturbance, formed over the Gulf of Mexico. And as that happened, it basically put a cap or lid on the atmosphere around here yesterday. That's why we didn't see much rain during the day. But as that tropical system moved through during the overnight hours and passed on through, it helped to pull that front on down into central Alabama. You can see it. It's roughly all these showers are right along that boundary here, stretching from west to east across the state. We've got showers right now around Tuscaloosa, and you can see it's kind of like a stationary system here. Very little movement. This is a 1-hour loop, and these pop-up showers, they've hardly moved. So where I know you look at this and you see very tiny downpours that have popped up, but where these are developing, they are dumping lots of rainfall in a short amount of time. And actually, there's one right there you can see around the Cottondale exit that's popped up over Tuscaloosa. And may get a rumble of thunder out of this with some of these pop-up showers. But you see that boundary, see it moving south. You can actually see it on radar pushing through Montevallo. A lot of ominous looking clouds with this. You know, typically when you get into a tropical environment like this, very muggy, you end up with some low cloud bases, and they tend to have a kind of a fibrous texture to them and very suspicious, ominous looking. But when you look at the clouds, there's a lot of bark but very little bite associated with those. They're just not a lot of storm activity out there at the moment. There's just some scattered tropical downpours, and you can see some of that wet weather moving south here into Goodwater, also into parts of Tallapoosa County. But the rain tonight, this evening, is going to remain more localized in some of these areas to the south. We did have a couple of showers to the north. Those have since dissipated, as you can see. So over the next 60 minutes, next hour, this is where we're going to see the axis, the greatest chance for some of those showers and storms, stretching from Tuscaloosa roughly back over towards Lake Martin here, right along that stalled out front. And you can see those clouds as we look at that to the south there from Oak Grove. That is a live look from our First Alert Sky Vision camera in Talladega County, right there looking south of Oak Grove and Sylacauga as those showers continue to impact parts of the area. But what happens tomorrow, that axis where we have all those showers and storms, that's going to start moving north again tomorrow, and it's going to continue to kind of waver across our area over the next couple of days, and it's going to keep our weather very unsettled. So take advantage as far as outdoor projects, take advantage of the breaks you get. Don't know if the yard's going to be dry enough to do a lot of mowing with the rain coming back in here tomorrow. Maybe we'll catch some breaks, and maybe the yard will be dry enough tomorrow morning. But I know one thing, the rain has been a good thing for all the vegetation out there. I know the gardens are loving it, and we're going to have much more to talk about on that forecast coming up. Here's what else is coming up on First Alert Weather Extra. We're going to update you on the tropics, of course, and the Saharan dust. That was a topic we got into last week. What's the progress, and how will that impact the setup across the southeast? We've got the beyond the 7-day forecast, and we've got the breakdown on dew points. What is dew point? That is something you're going to hear a lot about, dew points, in the summer months ahead. Meteorologist Lauren Lenahan is going to explain as we continue right now on First Alert Weather Extra. The Next Big Thing gives you a heads up days ahead of the next big storm system. The Next 24 gives you the most accurate and updated look at tomorrow. And the Next 60 gives you a 60-minute advantage against Mother Nature. Knowing what's next, days, hours, or minutes away, this is why we First Alert.
When we declare First Alert Weather Day, it's all hands on deck. We're on your side and in your hand with the First Alert Weather app. While Wes and the rest of the team track changes moment to moment, the app keeps you prepared and safe with video and alerts for your neighborhood. And if the power goes out, no worries. You can stream us anywhere. It's easy and it's always on. Stay ahead of Alabama weather. Just scan and tap and have the First Alert Weather app. This is why we First Alert.
On Good Day Alabama, we treat severe weather with the highest priority. It's more than just meteorologists. Everyone plays a part. Having more reporters in more places takes you beyond the First Alert, showing you the impact that we see on radar. We're live in your neighborhood when you need us. On air, online, and on the app. That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
Our lives revolve around planning for what's next, like the next ball game.
One hot dog with ketchup? It's the same with weather. That's why we're on your side with the next big thing, the next 60, and the next 24. Knowing what's next, days, hours, or minutes away.
This is why we First Alert. Who puts ketchup on a hot dog?
Getting live breaking news and local updates has never been easier. That's because we're on your side with the WBRC streaming app. Need updates between newscasts? You can catch up quick here. And when we're live on TV, we're live here too. Just search WBRC on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV. WBRC Fox 6 News is on your side.
Well, one of the big questions around here yesterday, where was the rain? We were talking about those higher weekend rain chances. The wet weather did hold off through most of the day, but we actually had some interesting developments. We had a tropical disturbance that quickly took shape over the Gulf of Mexico. Now, if you recall, when we were talking beyond the 7-day forecast a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned how some of the models late in the month were hinting at the possibility of a tropical system. Well, this is totally separate from that. This was something that developed, and we see that often here in May. It just shows you how quickly things can evolve when it comes to the tropics, but you can see that low during the overnight hours. If you watch it here as we loop back over the past 24 hours, you'll see that system as it moves out of the Gulf of Mexico. It actually tracked right around Pensacola and over towards Gulf Shores. Here it comes. You can see right in here as it formed and moved inland. And as that happened, look at that. You can see the spin with that. Wouldn't surprise me if this was like closed off tropical depression as it moved in. You can see as it moves to the north, though, that's why we ended up with a soaking rain during the overnight hours here across our area. But meteorologist Matt Daniel explains more on this system and its impacts across the region.
Well, we had a low come up from the Gulf of Mexico in through Alabama, but hold on just a second, Matt Daniel. It's not hurricane season yet.
Not quite yet, but you know what? It's not unusual to see tropical systems form in May.
No, it's not, but is that going to make for a long hurricane season? We'll have to see. One thing is we've got some warm waters.
Yeah, we do. Hey, and I want to show you some of these pictures. This is a picture right here out of Panama City Beach. Renee Garner sent this through the WBRC First Alert weather app.
A little shelf cloud going on there.
Yeah, a little outer squall from that area of low pressure that was developing. And that was a really interesting setup, Mickey.
Yeah. And we were talking about the surf being a little dangerous this past weekend. This was Lauren's tweet, and so it begins.
Yeah, so the National Hurricane Center, they actually put this out, like 10% chance for potential development. This was yesterday as that low just randomly formed. And that was something the models weren't really picking up. It was a small scale feature. And believe it or not, that's kind of delayed our rain here across central Alabama.
But that is what's responsible. That we saw that rain out there this morning. And just kind of tapered off. We still could see a few isolated cells out there going into this evening. But look at that, counterclockwise rotation, that's what you typically see.
Yeah, and it looks like what was probably the center of that system made landfall late last night, early this morning. And you can see those outer rain bands. It looks somewhat tropical on the radar, and it spread just a lot of rain and even some severe storms in parts of West Georgia as we went into the early morning hours. But what happened with this, the reason why it didn't really rain was we were sandwiched between those two systems. We had a cold front to the west and that low along the Gulf Coast. Now, initially, we were thinking that cold front was going to be able to push in and give us a good rain chance Sunday afternoon, especially Sunday evening, Sunday night. But that low developed, and it sort of slowed that cold front down, and we were sort of seeing a lot of dry air to the north of that low.
Yeah, it kind of cut us off from the energy there.
Exactly. So that's why it sort of was dry, and I'm seeing many people complain, especially if you're going to some of those USFL games. It was kind of nice to have relatively dry conditions. But yeah, that moisture surged to the north, and that gave us a good amount of rainfall.
It has a lot to do with water temperature, doesn't it?
It does. And before we get to that, I want to show you those rainfall totals, 1 to 2 inches of rain across the area. So this was a good soaking rain. We needed the rain. It's been super dry, so good news. So you were talking about those temperatures.
Yeah, and usually in June, June between June 1st and November 30th, that's your Atlantic hurricane season. It usually peaks at around August or September. But those warm waters of the Gulf, unseasonably warm already this year.
That's right. And if you can see on this chart right here, in May, along the Gulf Coast, temperatures are normally in the mid to upper 70s, but they're already in the low to mid 80s right now, which is more typical for June and July. So above average temperatures, you need 80 degrees or warmer really for tropical development. So had that thing just slowed down and formed and didn't move ashore, maybe it could have become a tropical depression. Who knows?
And that's why tropical season for the Atlantic usually ends November 30th because the water gets cooler. There's the peak. Usually August into September 10th is typically when we see the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. So we might be getting started a little bit earlier this year.
Well, right now, besides that little low that formed and moved through, I don't think we're going to see a named storm for May. We'll see what happens. Only have about a week left or so. However, June 1st begins, and these are the names on that list.
And we've got Alex, Bonnie, Colin. Look at that. Our general manager's name is Colin Gaston, and we've got Colin, and on down the road there's Gaston. So I don't know if that means anything. I'm just kidding.
I have no clue. Although I think last year we had Fred as well. So,
did we?
Yeah, we did. But hopefully, this season is forecast to get a little active. We'll see what happens. We have a La Nina, which usually means a more favorable or busier Atlantic. So we'll cross our fingers. Hopefully we don't see anything. It'd be great if they just stayed out in the Atlantic form and just move away and don't impact the Gulf Coast, but still too early to really know what's going to happen.
Well, tropical or not, we've needed the rainfall. Looks like we're getting so much needed rainfall, and as the weather team's been talking about, might even see some storms later on this week.
That's right, but yeah, the rain from this morning, really a blessing.
Yeah, it was nice to have the rain, and I can tell you, when we go through hot, dry spells like what we had over the past couple of weeks, watch the tropics, because many times the same patterns that correlate to us having the hotter, drier weather, many times I've seen that kind of set the stage for some active weather in the tropics. But again, there's a look back at that system that moved through earlier in the day. And with that flow out of the south, last week we first started talking a little bit about the Saharan dust plume moving over the Atlantic and how that can have an impact on tropical development. Let's check back in with Matt for an update on the progress there of the dust plume and how that could impact our region.
All right, I hope you had a wonderful Monday, and as we go into the middle part of this week, one thing that we're going to be watching in the upper levels of the atmosphere is dust all the way from Africa, the Saharan dust, and sometimes you'll get a flow bringing that dust off Africa. It travels well across the Atlantic, impacts the Caribbean, and then moves into the Gulf of Mexico based off those wind directions. So over the weekend we were mentioning there was that chance. So if you saw some hazy skies or perhaps some vivid sunrises or sunsets, it could have been due to the Saharan dust. And I will note this model is indicating it's going to sort of linger across the southeast over the next day or so thanks to southerly flow. And you can sort of see that going maybe into Wednesday. But then as we go into the end of the week, we're going to have a cold front move through, and any of that dust that's traveling from the Gulf will eventually stop because we're going to see northwesterly winds sort of knock that out. But if we end up seeing a little bit of sunshine in the morning or in the evening hours, you might see some pretty cool colors thanks to the Saharan dust layer. And it's not going to really cause too many health issues, but one good thing about it, it does limit tropical activity sometimes, so that can actually help you out, especially as we go into June and July. But normally as we get into August and September, you don't really see a lot of this dust happen. It usually slows down and you usually see more favorable conditions. And that's one reason why the hurricane season normally peaks during the months of August and September. Meanwhile, with air quality, we're also monitoring that as well, looking at current fire and smoke, and of course seeing lots of wildfires out in parts of the west. Of course, we've had a pretty dominant one in parts of New Mexico, producing some moderate amounts of smoke in parts of Texas and Oklahoma. It had spread towards the east, but thanks to southerly flow, not seeing any of that for today or tomorrow. So that is definitely some good news. By the way, if by any chance you see some really nice sunrises or sunsets, feel free to take those photos and submit them through the WBRC First Alert weather app. Just download it. It's a free download. Just scroll down and it will show you a little camera right here with the 6, and you just hit it for submit photos, and it will give you all the instructions on what to do. Just make sure you include your name and where you took it so that we can give you some credit, and we would love to show them right here on First Alert Weather Extra and on Fox 6.
Thanks a lot, Matt. And the 3 key ingredients when it comes to tropical weather: the warm water temperatures, the moisture, and also low wind shear. And when it comes to the moisture component, when we talk about that Saharan dust, sometimes that can take away some of that moisture and help to weaken tropical systems. But just like when we're tracking smoke from fires across the U.S., that's just another thing we can track with the tools that we have available to us with satellite data. And we often share that information when we're talking about the tropical weather, especially, and how that can impact the developmental conditions there in the areas to the south. But we're going to talk more about storms and rain chances in our forecast. I've got the 7-day coming up. We're going to break that down, and then we're going to check in with meteorologist Jill Gilardi, go beyond the 7-day forecast as we continue next on First Alert Weather Extra.
Every morning on Good Day Alabama, we know the news that matters the most to you is the news that hits closest to home.
And we know that to tell the best story means going to where the story is. That's why having more reporters in more places is so essential.
Giving you more local stories that impact your family, your school, and your safety.
On air, online, and on the app.
That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
I hear from people all the time with questions about healthcare, their insurance, and the safety of certain treatments. I'm Morgan Hightower, and I investigate these stories because if I were being taken advantage of, or if my family couldn't get the help they needed, I would want to know how to take action. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side, getting answers, keeping you informed and safe. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
Get pinpoint locations down to your street level on the First Alert Weather app. You can download by searching WBRC in your app store. That's accuracy you can plan on.
I hear from people all the time having problems with their landlord or worry about being ripped off by a bad business. I'm Josh Gann, and I investigate stories like these because if I had questions about protecting my finances or how to save more money, I would want the best advice available. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side, getting answers, keeping you informed and safe. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
Get First Alert weather and breaking news. Follow us on Twitter. Search at WBRC News.
Get First Alert weather and breaking news. Follow us on Facebook. Search at WBRC News.
A very stormy setup over the next few days. You can see there for our Tuesday, Election Day, and Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances rather elevated. Now, Thursday's a day we get a final push of rain through here, and the models are indicating the guidance that by the weekend we will dry out. So just in time for Memorial Day weekend, highs in the 80s and sunshine making a return. And there's actually going to be a couple of breaks, but you're going to feel it out there tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. the temperatures, it's going to heat up by late morning. It's going to feel incredibly humid and hot, and that's when those storms will start popping up. We'll get a little bit of that rain. Could help to kind of cool, stabilize things, so we may enjoy some breaks at times, especially tomorrow and Wednesday during the evening after the rain, to enjoy a walk around the neighborhood. I know today we've had a lot of clouds. The temperature in Birmingham actually stayed in the 70s with the clouds and the showers that we've had around, but the rain's setting up right here along this boundary. You can see across the central part of the state. Very little movement with some of this wet weather back into West Alabama. I do expect these showers to gradually dissipate with time. The model data indicating that there still could be a couple of lingering showers past midnight tonight, but this is where most of that's going to happen. If we see anything down around Rockford and Goodwater, you can see over in towards Tuscaloosa County. Right there, seeing a lightning strike detected out around Skyland Boulevard. So we do have a storm going up there in Tuscaloosa, still tracking some scattered thunderstorm activity. But tonight, later on, you can see the latest forecast radar data. It's 9 o'clock, still showing a couple of pop-ups there far south towards Greensboro. And there's 11 o'clock tonight to the north. Not seeing a lot, but there will be some fog around. And in the morning, plan for that for the drive early in the day. Some patchy fog, a few isolated showers. Early on, you can see temperatures in the 60s, very mild tropical feel there early tomorrow morning. But as soon as we start breaking into the 80-degree range, be on the lookout for storms. Will reach what we call that convective temperature tomorrow, and the storms will start popping showers there during the day. There's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see the forecast guidance showing a good chance that we're going to have some heavy rain producers out there in some spots. It's going to be more scattered tomorrow, so going out to vote, if you are about to hit the road, you get one of those lightning alerts on the First Alert weather app. Just stand by. It should move on through. Things are going to progress along tomorrow. I don't see the kind of just all-day soaking rain like what we saw overnight last night. Now, that could change. By Thursday, we could see a system that may bring some rather longer duration type setups as far as the rain goes. We may have some rainy periods throughout the day, but by the weekend, again, trending drier there Saturday and Sunday with highs in the 80s. I know some of the long-range data, Jill, I'm going to bring in meteorologist Jill Gilardi. Some of the long-range data was suggesting that we could see maybe a few lingering isolated showers to the south over the weekend. I know sometimes it takes a while to break out of these dry patterns. Then when you get into these stormy patterns, sometimes it takes a while to break out of the stormy patterns when you get into late spring, early summer.
Well, it looks like, Wes, I know we're looking ahead, and it may not linger that wetter pattern. So that could be good news, of course, for the holiday weekend. And then looking beyond the 7-day, we're getting all the way now into June. So June 1st, again, the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. I've widened out the view because we'll be watching, of course, the tropics very closely, but I don't see a whole lot happening locally too. So that's another reason why I was like, well, might as well just stretch out the view and see what else is going on, because it really shows a drier pattern kind of setting up as we go through about the 7th, and we'll watch across the Gulf to see if anything does develop and move in our direction. Of course, we could see a change in that pattern. As we know, short-term developments can happen, but as of right now, I don't see anything too crazy in terms of wet weather. So again, the next 8 to 14 days, the rain chance looks pretty limited. It's low, it's not zero. So again, this week has been beneficial already, and it's going to continue to be. And in terms of the 8 to 14 day outlook, according to the Climate Prediction Center, they are indicating that it could hedge towards above normal, but not a strong indication either way. So we'll have to watch things as we get closer, of course, in time. And then in terms of temperatures, still going to be trending above normal, it looks like, overall, but not going to see as much extreme heat in certain areas. But there will be another trough coming our way. So could that mean another chance for rain and storms? That's definitely going to be possible as we look beyond the 7-day. But for right now, thumbs up to Memorial Day weekend, looking fairly dry for that. And of course, we'll keep a look beyond, and if anything does pop up, we will give you that first alert. So Wes, again, looking good as we go beyond into the Friday and the weekend time frame. And then after that, things can always change.
All right, Jill, thanks a lot. And one of the ingredients in weather that we often talk about this time of the year with respect to storms and how it feels outside, the mugginess, you'll hear this term a lot, the dew point. And what we're going to do after the break is we're going to have the lowdown on the dew point with meteorologist Lauren Linehan as we continue right here on First Alert Weather Extra.
Getting live breaking news and local updates has never been easier. That's because we're on your side with the WBRC streaming app. Need updates between newscasts? You can catch up quick here. And when we're live on TV, we're live here too, giving you more ways to get caught up with everything happening where you live. Plus, exclusive videos from your First Alert weather team. It's easy to use and it's free. Just search WBRC on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV. WBRC Fox 6 News is on your side.
You've got enough to worry about every day. That's why the First Alert weather team is on your side, so you can plan with confidence and take the worry out of weather. With exclusive First Alert AccuTrack, we pinpoint storms before they arrive. And with Weather Every 6, you are always informed. Alabama's weather changes fast, but we're working even faster, updating and alerting you first. We know your plans are important. This is why we First Alert.
Every morning on Good Day Alabama, we're on your side, trying to get you where you're going safely. First Alert Traffic updates you on slowdowns and gives you alternate routes. Having more reporters covering the roads you drive on gives you even more info to help you know more about why it happened and when it will be cleared. On air, online, and on the app. That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
I get calls and emails all the time from people wanting to know how cities, counties, and the state are spending their tax dollars. I'm Jennifer Horton, and I investigate how your tax dollars are being used because I don't want your money or mine wasted or fraudulently spent by politicians in power. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side, following the paper trail, asking the tough questions, and giving you the facts. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
All right, welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Well, one term you hear us say a lot in the weather is the dew point. That is the temperature at which condensation takes place, but it has all kinds of impacts on our weather with respect to comfort, fueling thunderstorms, helps us kind of gauge the moisture content in the atmosphere. But I want to stop there. I want to head over to meteorologist Lauren Linehan because, Lauren, you put together this nice explainer, and it's one of the questions that we often see. What does dew point mean, and how does that relate to the forecast?
Yeah, and the thing is, Wes, a lot of people will talk about humidity. It's like, well, what percentage is the humidity? Well, technically, humidity is not the best measure, believe it or not, of just what it feels like outside. Dew point actually is, because with relative humidity, that's important to know. Relative humidity is, you have to know what the actual air temperature is, and that can tell you, if you look at that, you can figure out, okay, does it feel as bad outside as it would be otherwise if it were a little bit cooler? So the best way to look at moisture content in the air is dew point, which is why we bring it up a lot. But some people will hear the word dew point like, I don't get that. I don't like it. Break it down for me. So that's what we're going to do here with the weather lowdown on dew point. So these are our current dew points right now. And this is telling us not what the air temperature is outside, but almost how close the air is to saturation. So right now we are in Birmingham, a dew point of 67. Now, if the temperature outside in Birmingham was 67, then the air would be at 100% relative humidity. The air can hold as much moisture as it's able to hold, but we don't want to get down and break that down to you every day. So you have to know when you see these numbers on a map, that's not telling me the actual air temperature outside, but that's telling me the dew point. So when you see dew points in the 60s and 70s, what does that mean? It doesn't mean, oh, it's cooler than it would be on a 90-degree day. Instead, that's going to tell you exactly what it would feel like as you get outside. And what we do here is use the Muggy meter to give you an idea of that. So as we look at the Muggy meter over the next few days, you'll notice, okay, dew points are generally going to be in the upper 60s, potentially low 70s. Why is that? Because there's going to be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. But notice what happens on Friday. We see dew points getting into the 50s. That indicates some drier air is coming in. But okay, you still look at these numbers like, all right, I still don't understand. Is there like an official table? Well, there's not really an official table to tell you exactly just how muggy it's going to be at certain times. But what I can show you is what I've given you here with dew points, a general idea, which we as meteorologists look at. And if we see dew points in the 60s or in the 50s, what does that mean to us? So if you see dew points 50s or below, if a meteorologist is talking about that, generally the air is going to be very dry. dry, very comfortable. 50s is almost that transition zone from much drier air to muggier air, which is going to be more comfortable. If we're talking about the winter time, you get a cold front that comes through and this really drier air filters in. That is going to mean dew points could be in the teens, in the 20s. In our static meter that we show you, that First Alert Zapcast is based on that actually. So you got really dry air in place. And then once we get into the 60s, that's when you see more moisture in the air. So it's a little humid, a little bit more sticky. But in the dead of summer, when we all think about that humidity in the deep south, how awful it is, that's when dew points are going to be in the 70s, indicating there's a lot more moisture in the air. So lower the dew point, less moisture, not going to feel as humid outside, but the higher the dew point, more moisture in the air, the grosser, the yuckier it's going to feel. Wes?
I don't know if I've ever seen the yuck emoji. I don't believe I found that on my iPhone yet, but you know, we need to do the dew point experiment one day. What's interesting, and by the way, Lauren, I'll let you go ahead and pull the 7-day up back here. One of the things that's very interesting, you watch relative humidity, it changes every day. It goes up in the morning and then it drops during the day. And as Lauren mentioned, it's that temperature and dew point relationship. As the temperature pulls away from the dew point during the day, relative humidity goes down. So dew point's just really overall a good way to kind of gauge how the environment's changing when it comes to weather, but we can talk a lot more about that, and we certainly will in upcoming episodes here of First Alert Weather Extra. But here's that 7-day again, and right now we've got higher dew points. Certainly compared to what we had last week, it's feeling tropical, very muggy outside, and that is going to be the octane for the showers and storms to get those storms really going over the next few days. You can see those higher rain chances into Thursday. Looking at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, high temperatures will be in the 80s. Now, I just want to mention tomorrow night, it's Election Day, so we're going to have special Election Day coverage on our streaming channels. So we will return right here on First Alert Weather Extra on Wednesday. So again, the show returns on Wednesday. Tomorrow at this time, we'll have special election coverage, so make sure you tune in for that on our YouTube channels and all of our streaming platforms. It's going to be a big day as we provide those results for you on WBRC Fox 6. And of course, another big day as we track some wet weather in the First Alert Weather Center, and we'll have lots of radar updates and more coming up tonight on the news. Be sure to check in with us starting at 9 o'clock on WBRC.